Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast. This is your host, Emmett Muckles. You can find the podcast on iTunes and Stitcher, and the main site is emmettmuckles.com. That's EMMITTMUCKLES.com. Today, my guest is Donnie Desanti. Those resolution months, this is the guy you need to see because he's going to give you all those tools required to move you forward in getting healthy, losing weight, and also having an abundance of energy. Hey, Donnie, how are you doing today?
Hey, Emmett, thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
You went through some trials and tribulations in your early childhood, relegated to stability and health. And I don't mean that kind of mentally, but you just had a lot of energy, and that energy was kind of misdirected, and you got diagnosed with ADHD. Can you tell me a little bit about that and how your journey towards to where you are today came to fruition?
Yeah, definitely. You hear a lot of people saying, like, I wish I had more energy, and mine was like the opposite case. I had too much energy at a pretty young age. So I was diagnosed with ADHD around fourth grade, after my teachers were telling my parents, kind of complaining that, hey, this kid has a tough time sitting still, concentrating in class, disrupting the class, getting detentions, all those things that young kids get. But, I was later diagnosed, or soon after that, diagnosed with ADHD and put on a steady stream of Ritalin medication, which definitely helped me. I started to get good grades. I started to behave better, but I didn't like the way I felt on the medication, and I felt kind of embarrassed, emotionally kind of broken with it, and it just didn't make me feel kind of normal. And this went on for about a good 8 or 9 years, and then it was later in my teen years where I started to, kind of wanting to take things into my own hands, kind of thing, with my health. And I actually had this woman come to our school and give this talk on, how she reversed her breast cancer through like alternative or natural changes in her diet and lifestyle, and really kind of captivated my attention. And, this kind of where I guess my health journey started. And, I was like, if she could do this with her, disease, and I could definitely do this with my disorder. And I started to really just jump into what it meant to be healthy. And I just had this kind of, vision of like, let me just try to get myself to be the healthiest person possible. And I bet if I could definitely get off medications. And I started to just jump into, definitely changing what I was eating. I started to get into kind of like lifestyle changes, adding things in like meditation, regular exercise. And eventually I did. I got off medication and been medication free since. And strangely enough, that same woman who gave that talk definitely, influenced me and my family again. My health journey kind of led me, a couple of years later with my mom getting breast cancer of her own. And we actually sought that woman out again to help my mom. And she went that natural alternative route as well. And luckily, no chemo or radiation. And now she's been cancer free for about 19 years. So, my health journey has taken me different places, but it's I've learned so much along the way, and now it's kind of led me to what I do now and help people kind of take back their own health and things like weight loss and increasing their energy. So that's kind of my little journey now.
When you were you went through it basically when you were a teenager, and that's a rough time for anyone because you have to deal with your body changing, you're dealing with your self-esteem and perception. And how did your parents kind of see that? And the reason I'm asking is because someone may hear this who has a child who is going through similar situations. They may identify with you and identify with their child. What was that transition like for your parents to say, "Oh, this is working. It's food. We have to help him along with this transition as well"? Yeah,
that's a good question. It wasn't just. My parents supported me in it, right? And they knew that I was into it, right? And obviously we talked to our doctor too. And this isn't just kind of like a message like, hey, get off the medication, right? we did some research about it. It was a slow and steady thing. It wasn't just, okay, stop taking it. But I came to them with a plan. Like, listen, and here's really where I started. Okay, like I knew, and my parents knew too, that for me, sugar, okay, was kind of the trigger that set me off. With sugar, especially like any kind of sweets or candy or something like that, it just set me off with this energy that I just could not sit still for. It seemed like days, right? So I told my parents, like, hey, why don't we start there? And what if I just started removing all sugars from my diet, right? Like, and maybe we can wean it down. And you guys let me know, right? Like, if you feel that I need it, and they said that too. Like, listen, if we feel we see you, kind of bouncing off the walls again, we're going to kind of put you back on it. So it was, and that kind of encouraged me to like, I want to make this work. So we started there and with kind of those baby steps, and let's remove sugar from my diet and see what happens there.
So, today in our culture, sugar is such a it's permeated in everything, in high fructose corn syrup. And what was that? Was it just the basic white sugar, sweets, and things like that, or did you journey further into, discovering what all contained the things that you may be reacting to?
Yeah, I mean that. I tell you, that was the big aha moment for me. Is that obviously I started with the basics, right? Like no cookies, no desserts, things like no candy, right? Like those were the basics. But as I really kind of started to dive a little bit deeper into things, it was crazy. I started to see that sugar was in so many different things that we would eat, right? And I would say we had a pretty decent diet growing up. My parents, 3 square meals a day kind of thing, home cooked meals. But there was, the more I looked into, it wasn't just the word sugar anymore. There was things like high fructose corn syrup, things like sucrose, dextrose, all these different names. I think there's something like 56 different names for sugar that are in foods you wouldn't even think about. And, as I started to dive deeper, it started to really open my eyes like, wow, we are eating way more sugar than we think. And it started this kind of cascade of like, wow, what's really in our food.
So what year was that? Give me a time frame that you were involved in understanding the changes in your body. Because you say you were a teenager.
Sure. So this is about around 92, probably 92, 93, when I was starting to look into it. I'm 40 now, so it's been definitely a couple of years.
Yeah, and it's funny because now all this information is coming to light in various forms. If you look at Netflix, they have various documentaries that are telling you the exact same thing that you were saying. And once you got on this plan, you developed a physical lifestyle that you had to adopt in order for you to move forward. How did that take you to the next level where you say, I need to share this information with people?
Yeah, I just kept, it was a lot many more years, I guess, till I really started to kind of like, I guess, start my own practice. But even after that, like I just was always into health, and it just started to kind of fuel this fire. But people kept asking me like, things like weight loss, I don't know, advice, or just some healthy things, or I just shared with them. They noticed I would eat healthy, and they asked questions about that, or some recipe ideas, and it just kept going on. And then eventually it kind of led me down to like, let me start consulting with people and helping them. Right, I was almost like, it was actually my now wife kind of encouraged me, like, what you're talking about, you should start kind of using it and sharing with people. So that came, years later, but, I think there's a lot of learning to be done first, and kind of how to kind of share it with people.
Yeah. What's your geographic location?
I'm right outside New York City, and actually in New Jersey, in Hoboken, New Jersey.
Oh, that's an awesome place. They've built that up a lot of nice little restaurants and bars and things too. I was there a couple months ago.
Yeah, it's a little town.
And you're right there in the thick of things. You're on the East Coast, and people on the East Coast love to eat, and they love to eat good.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of sweets. You know, you got the Italian influence, you got the Irish influence. You have a lot of serious food that are coming through your way. So do you find it difficult for you to stay the course in this modern society, particularly where you live?
No, the opposite. The opposite is true. I find it, and here's the thing, and this is a big kind of message that I try to bring to kind of my clients, is that, we have this idea that to be kind of healthy or to eat healthy, it takes some, this restrictive kind of mentality, or it's hard, or, we're going to start eating foods that are bland and don't taste good. But, I try to bring the opposite approach, in that, the reason we think this is because we're very limited in what good food tastes like, or, and what good food is. We're limited in what real food is. And that's something that I think we need to kind of relearn, to know, like, how to make a decent meal, right? And or even how to go out and eat healthy, right? Especially in my area where there's so many, great influences of food. And I'm noticing definitely in my area, more people want real food. They want healthy options and healthy food that they feel good after eating. So my approach is, I feel, once you have the tools and information and knowledge, then, it doesn't become difficult. It becomes a lifestyle where it's, going to fast food is just not really an option. Or if it is, you have your options around where you live, because you know what to look for, right? You have the information and knowledge, to kind of, to make those healthier choices. So it doesn't become this kind of mind over matter, this willpower diet that many people are accustomed to when they're trying to make changes to their health. Because that, and we've seen it, that doesn't work. Right? It's like, once it becomes this willpower, mind over matter thing, it's only a matter of time till you kind of stress that mind muscle out, and you're just like, what's the point? And you just go back to your normal habits. Yeah,
I related to beer because here's why. When you're a kid, if you have a beer when you're a kid, you think this is the grossest thing I've ever encountered. And then when you become an adult, you're like, beer, because it's an acquired taste. And the same thing with learning, good food, because we've been eating such processed things, it becomes an acquired taste. And then once you acquire the taste, to go the opposite way, like, I can't go to McDonald's, I can't go to Wendy's. And I used to love them. And it becomes that. But I want to go into some ways that you can help people, which is the $1 Million Meal Plan. Tell me a little bit about your book, The $1 Million Meal Plan.
Yeah, that just came about where people kept asking me for, hey, what's a good recipe I can make, or what's some healthy I can make for lunch or dinner, and I kind of just put together this 30-day meal plan of just, I wanted to show people that these recipes are quick, they're simple. They're real foods, they're real ingredients, okay, and they taste good, okay, which, a lot of that doesn't seem to go hand in hand. People think, well, I know cooking is good for me, but I don't have the time to do it. Or if I do make something, it's something bland like chicken breast and steamed broccoli. I don't know why that seems to be the go-to healthy meal, but it's so boring and bland, right? And so, I've just put this little meal plan together to help someone, like, listen, here's 30 days worth of recipes, which is more than enough that you need, right? And if you just, here's something that you can make every day for 30 days if you want, or something to just mess around with, 5, 7 recipes. If you can master those, you have something that you can rotate every other day or every week, right? So it was really about to just help someone, give them some momentum to get back into their kitchen and show them how easy it is to kind of make a decent meal.
So how is this book delivered? Is it a hardcover, softcover,
it's just an ebook. Yeah, it's just a PDF. You can just go to my website on DonnieDesanti.com and pick that up. And it's .com/meal plan. And it's just free, kind of a little recipe guide, and it really helps someone kind of get started in their kitchen.
Now, do you also, give people a way or show them a way with indoctrinating physical activity along with, eating habits as well?
Yeah, definitely. I always believe we start with the food first because I feel like that's the most important part, right? Because, we could eat really well and not really do much movement and still like lose weight and get our energy back. But it's really hard to exercise and still eat like garbage and, feel good and lose weight, right? So, but once we start kind of, getting some good food on our plates and cleaning our diet up, I just encourage people to move more, okay? And, it's not necessarily that they need to be going to the gym more, okay? But just moving more in their life, okay? We're moving beings, and right now the majority of us are living a sedentary lifestyle, and we're seeing the results of that, right? I feel like we have lines up the coffee shops nowadays. We're bigger than we've ever been, okay? We have things like heart disease at an all-time high. We're having more kind of structural issues, whether it be knee or hips or our backs. And I think that's a result because we're just not moving more. I think there's a study, the average person moves about 2.5 miles a week, okay, which is not very much, and so that's something we look at. How can we move more in a person's lifestyle, whether it be just walking more, taking the stairs, or parking your car far away, or riding a bike. The ways, that we can kind of just fit more just movement in our day-to-day, and that definitely contributes to, feeling better and feeling good and having more energy.
So when you're dealing with your clients, do you see a difference in the approach to males versus females, old and young, the different demographics and different shapes and body types?
Yeah, no, that's an interesting question. And I've just noticed this in my experience that the reason is it seems that women seem to want to, for health more than men. And I don't know why this is, and I've definitely tried to kind of tap more into kind of the men, I guess, species, so to say, and because I don't know what it is, but it just seems that women just are more kind of health conscious. Men are a little bit more reserved, and but I have no evidence of that. It's just my experience, but it just seems that way.
Yeah, men want to eat what they want to eat, and then just go work out as much as possible.
Yeah, but I will say the men I have worked with, I really enjoy working with men just because they, when they do want to make their changes, they're like all in, which is great. I appreciate that kind of intensity.
Yeah, I have a bunch of women in my life, and they always say one thing: if they work with women, women will listen. Men, you have to make listen. Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah. I mean, men are just tell me what I need to do, right? And you just tell them, and it's like, all right, that's a wrap. Yeah, that's a wrap, yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you have for 2017? What's your plan, my man?
Just trying to reach as many people as I can, trying to get the message out, help as many people as I can. My mission is really, helping people, create healthy lifestyles for themselves. And, any way I could do that, it's, I enjoy it. I love what I do. And I love seeing, people kind of change their life by simply changing what's on their plate as a start. So, I'm going to keep that up and just definitely keep spreading the word.
Do you have any public appearances such as workshops, coaching sessions, forum groups?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm on a lot of podcasts, that's for sure. But, for your listeners, definitely connect with me in my Facebook group. I have a great community going on. That's at Life and Balance Tribe. It's great bunch of people just trying to be the healthiest version of themselves. So, if people want to connect over there, I'm always in there sharing, videos, recipes, tips, all that great stuff. And it's a great community. So, and especially going into the new year, it's great to have some good support. So it's a great support system there. So, people can definitely hit me up over there at Life and Balance Tribe.
So what about your Twitter, email? You said Facebook, Google Plus, and this would probably be the best for you, which would be Pinterest.
I haven't really dabbled much with Pinterest.
Oh my man!
Instagram, yeah, I know. There's so many platforms out there. I try to keep my focus, limited. But I do have Instagram is my name, Donnie Desanti, and I do have a lot of pictures, recipes going on over there, similar to Pinterest, I guess. But Pinterest does have some great recipes on there or photos going on. But Instagram is my photo, I guess, thing going on.
Instagram is a big one. Yep.
Yeah.
So for 2017, 2018, you're tooling up everybody to come visit you so that you can help them to understand their food choices. And I have one other question, which is, which do you prefer or balance versus a raw food diet versus a meat-based diet?
Are you asking which is better or healthier?
Because I know there are some people who are versed in certain types of diet. For instance, me, when I tried to go off meat, there was problems.
Yeah.
I just didn't respond well, but it may have been the stress that was in my life too. But when I do indoctrinate a lot of vegetables in my diet, I feel so much better. My energy levels just spike through the roof.
Yeah. So, I know that we're always looking for like which one's better. Is there one diet out there for everyone? And this is something I bring with my clients, is that there is no one diet fits all. And while working with someone, we explore a little bit of everything, right? Because everyone is different. And as you saw for yourself, when you try to just eat raw foods, your body's like, I need meat. But yet there are people who thrive on a raw food diet, and their body just works that way. For them, meat doesn't work. And I've seen the gamut in so many different kind of diets where it works for them, and then I've seen people who are like vegan for years, and then finally like I need meat, and they just kind of come off of it, and they feel so much better. So I think when it comes down to it, I think it's so important that we listen to our own body and kind of listen to what it needs, because the body always knows best. And, it's, it could be, and I've seen this too, like we hear all this information about one specific diet and then saying like that's the healthy diet. People go on it, but they're actually hurting themselves rather than helping themselves, right? Because what works for me could be poison for you. And I think that's something, when I work with my clients, that to kind of give them the power back to be like, your health, you need to be responsible for your own health and listen to what your body is telling you and the ways that it's telling you, because it's not cut and dry like that. But yet I think we could take a little bit from each, kind of theory or dietary theory. Let's be honest. If it wouldn't hurt us if we all ate a little bit more raw fruits and vegetables, right? I think we can all agree on that.
Yep.
And yet I think, meat is a quality source of protein. I think the quality of meat we're eating, I think we can probably improve in that. And that could probably help our health as well. So I think there's a little bit we could take from every kind of dietary theory, but I think overall it's important just to listen to our own body.
Yeah, and I'm glad I'm speaking with you, because I want to ask you this question. I don't know if you have an answer for it, but recently the topic of testosterone or T levels has come up in men and how it's much lower than it has been historically. Do you think that it's attributed to our diets and our lack of mobility?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, hormones are, influenced, greatly by our diet and lifestyle. There's foods that, can lower our testosterone and foods that can increase it. Exercise helps boost testosterone too. These play a factor, and we are starting to see this. We're starting to see a rise, in men in estrogen and lower testosterone, because, some of these estrogen dominant foods, or things like soy and, some dairy, that those are kind of contributing to an imbalance in hormones. So, it plays a huge role. In a lot of lot of different factors.
Yeah, I know it's affected me. That's why I started throwing my kettlebell around seriously.
There you go. Yeah, and sleep. I tell you what, sleep. It's the secret sauce. It's simple for helping our testosterone, our hormone levels. And people are just like, sleep, whatever. I'll sleep when I'm dead, or they're burning the midnight oil. I mean, just getting to bed at a reasonable hour can help your testosterone immensely.
Well, this has been awesome. So let's go through your website, because it's DonnieDesanti.com.
Correct. Yeah.
And do you have a Twitter handle that everybody can kind of follow, and your Instagram as well?
Yeah, it's all the same. Donnie Desanti, just my name. Real simple.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, here's what I always have to say to end our podcast. You guys have a temple that you were blessed with. It's a 1 in a billion temple. There's not another one like it. You have to love that temple. Love yourself, and that's throughout. That's physically, that's mentally, that's spiritually. You got to get on that one plane. I call it the Trinity: mind, body, and soul. Once you get your Trinity together and you love that Trinity, that love is going to spread out to the world, and it's going to promote more love from everybody else. Donnie, I want to thank you for being on the Billionaire Lifestyle podcast, because you've crafted your billionaire lifestyle, and I want you to have an awesome year.
No, thanks, Evan. It was my pleasure being on. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Until next time, everyone, peace.